Hi, welcome. Our guest today is a central figure in the Detroit food scene. He is perhaps best known as the owner of Anthony's Prepared Foods, which has been a staple vendor at Detroit's Eastern Market for over 16 years, offering popular chips, salsa, and guacamole. But his influence extends far beyond that. He's a food creator, curator, and media personality. He's the host of the popular Sandwich Talk podcast, the founder of the annual Detroit Sandwich Week, and has hosted the YouTube series Chef RV, and has even appeared on the HBO Max show What Am I Eating with Zoe Deschanel. Born in Mexico City and raised in Detroit, he is passionate ambassador for the city's diverse and thriving culinary community. Please welcome the one and only Carlos Parisi. Carlos, welcome.
Yeah.
So where are you
like the
calling from
intro.
today? Are you in Detroit?
That was a hardcore intro, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Pleasure, pleasure. It's all befitting to you. You deserve it. You deserve it. And there's much more. It will take me the whole night just giving you an intro. Are you calling from Detroit at the moment?
Oh yeah, I'm calling from my basement jam room.
Okay, okay. Is that the headquarters where all the magic happens?
Absolutely not. This is a very rare site. Not too many people see this area of my life. But I was actually a musician when I started getting into food for years and years, and then I stepped away from music to focus on food.
Okay, so out of interest, was it a particular instrument you played or?
I play guitar.
Okay, wow. And you sing as well? All right, right. So cool, so cool. So I guess before we start delving into like your background and your aspirations for Anthony's and so forth, tell us a bit more about your role and what's your focus of Anthony's, and then we'll dive right in if that's okay.
Yeah. So I started doing this in 2009 with a friend of mine. Him and his mom and dad. His mom is not me. She was doing this hobby of hers, just a fun thing for her to do, which is a dry mix packet that you mix with tomatoes to make salsa. And as time went on, that hobby unfortunately turned into a necessity because it was peaking during recession time, and his dad lost his job. My friend's internship ran up. This was 2009, and he pulled me aside one day because we were both in the student organization together and said, you have a background in sales. You're also Mexican, which helps. Would you like to help us kind of save the family? And that year we sat in a classroom, and on a giant white dry erase board, he drew out a massive business plan. And that business plan ended up being what saved the family.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we ended up selling in every single way, shape, and form that we possibly could, going into stores, bars, restaurants, farm markets, whatever it was, and sold pretty well. And we were able to create a full company from that. And then as the time went on, his family ended up getting jobs again after we had already, fortunately saved the family. And we just kept it going. And from that time on, Auntney's became the thing that brought me into the fold of the city of Detroit's food landscape. So this is 2009. Started to work at Eastern Market, starting to do pop-ups, starting to do a bunch of other collaborative efforts with other food people here in the city. And that was really just the beginning to so much. And I'm thankful to say that I am who I am because of my time, starting that up, Eastern Market, and just becoming a person here in the city. I want to be a strong community member forever and ever for our people because that's what I believe in.
So I guess your role, is it still very much marketing and strategy, or what exactly is your role? Or what would you say is your role within the Anthony's?
Great question, Chris. I'm everything.
For someone that plays drums, guitar, and so forth, I guess you are a multi-instrumentalist in many ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, with Auntney's, so, as time went on, my business partner at the time moved on to other things. The family moved on to other things. And it's been me basically since 2017, essentially running everything. And I'm very thankful to say that that's something that it's taken a lot of time, a lot of effort to get things right. I still don't think that I'm doing things right, but I'm trying every day.
Yeah. So do you have a team with you, or is it pretty much you?
Yep.
Wow. 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 So before we delve a little bit more into Carlos and his universe, just as a quick roadmap for the viewers, we'll start with Carlos' background, a little bit like what's working, what's frustrating, finishing where you like to be in 6 to 12 months, and we might just wrap it up by then. So it will take around 30 to 40 minutes. Because this podcast comes from a point where I want to inspire the future entrepreneurs. And I think your journey is actually quite very interesting. So, when you look back, did you ever think you were going to become an entrepreneur, or was out of necessity, as you mentioned, that then you saw the spark come through?
So where I was in college at the time, I thought that I was going to be moving to New York and working some job. My goal was to move to New York and do something in marketing, work in some kind of industry that felt right for me at the time. And I didn't. I ended up staying here, worked for a couple of different companies in corporate, did pretty well with that. So for about like 5.5 years, I worked in corporate. And I got to tell you, Chris, I didn't like it. I, as good as I was, doing what I was doing, and I'm definitely, I have the type of mentality that I get things done. No matter what it is, it's going to get done and I'll do it. And that's that go-getter mentality that everybody in corporate is looking for. Like, you're a self-starter, right? But at the same time, I was also running my own business, and I was also doing a whole bunch of other stuff here in the city. And I realized pretty quickly that if I'm going to be working for somebody, I'm only really helping them achieve their goal. I'm helping them achieve their dreams. And if their dreams and their goals don't align with what I'm doing, then what am I doing? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, I promised myself when I finally ended up quitting and moving away from corporate that I would never work for anybody ever again. I will
Right.
only from here on out be working with people. That means whatever it is, whatever I'm doing, I'm my own boss working in partnership with somebody else. Because
Right.
to me, that's what means everything. I wake up in the morning and I think to myself, I'm not better than anybody and no one is better than me. And I think that that's the right kind of mentality to have because for me, I love who I am. I love the people around me. If anybody thinks that they're better than anybody, then that's kind of a red flag. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's interesting. So, I guess for people that want to follow like an entrepreneurial kind of route, it's about filling your desires, isn't it? It's like the free spirit is a driver to kind of not being part of a machine, but you actually the driver of your own destiny, I suppose. And I guess that what appeals a lot of people to become entrepreneurs. So, was there a particular moment when you were? Say again, Carlos?
I said that's a good way to put it. It's not necessarily about money. If I could tell anybody right now, if you want to run your own business, expect that you're going to be poor. Expect that you're going to be working every single day. Expect that no matter what time it is, it never stops. And that's just something that I had to be okay with. I'm always on. I always have to be on. I always have to be available. And that's fine with me. You hear from other entrepreneurs, do not one thing or another thing, you're literally a firefighter for everything. Life is about setting it up and then, putting out any fires that come to you. So if I can give the advice to anybody about being an entrepreneur, it's approach with caution because if you're not 100% ready for it, well, honestly, you'll never be 100% ready for it. Take that away. If you aren't prepared to just let go of control and work very hard at being literally anything and everything. If you can't thrive in what is uncomfortable to you, then that's something you have to learn first before you jump into business for yourself. Because
Yeah,
that's
for
something that
sure.
a mentor taught me a long time ago is that you must be able to thrive in what's uncomfortable. And I can honestly say it's like that adage, do one thing every day that's uncomfortable or do one thing every day that scares you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure. That's a great insight for people that are considering the entrepreneurial route because I guess pressure creates diamonds, and it's when you are kind of in those moments of difficulty that creates your character and it makes you who you are. And I guess for a lot of people, and I think you are an example. I don't think you went into it for the money, but more for passion, a desire to change the family's life, make a difference in the community. So all those things there gives you contentment. It's not necessarily the money, if it comes, is a bonus, but there's a lot of other stuff around being an entrepreneur. You cannot put money to it. and the freedom to be who you are and being authentic. I think that's like the cherry on the cake. So a lot of people have to be aware that entrepreneurial route is not just about the money, I suppose.
For
Yeah,
me,
I
it
agree.
also had a lot to do with because of the place that I'm in, right? I think Detroit is such a unique, beautiful place that I learned fairly quickly that it's more than just what's in it for me, but it's the opportunity to do something that's bigger than myself.
Mm,
Being here in the city, doing what we do here, you are very much a part of something so much larger in the grand scheme of what this city means to not just the community at large, not just the people that need everybody around them. But now, honestly, because of this spotlight that we have on us internationally, what Detroit means to the rest of the world. And that's something that I have been able to realize over the years because the way that we are as a city has historically always affected the rest of the world in some way, shape, or form, at least over the last 100 years, maybe more. And who we are now is once again showing the rest of the world you can do this.
mm,
You don't have to have major corporate control. The city doesn't have to be run the way that everybody tells you it should be. Business doesn't have to go the way that everybody says business has to go.
mm,
If you're doing this for the right reasons and you're doing this with the right kind of passion and power, community is real. It will band
okay.
behind you. And as long as you're doing this for everybody, with everybody, success is obvious.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting because I've been now doing this for a short while, and I've interviewed a few people within the food and beverage industry. And one thing that keeps coming up is community. So even within beverages, just having a beer is not actually the end goal for the entrepreneur. It's actually create a community around the product and making a place where the customers and the users come for a sense of belonging. So the product is almost the glue that brings the community together. And I think community is definitely the way to go. You cannot just launch a product and expect it to hit the shelves or whatever and just become a commercial success without community. I think community is integral to what you stand as a brand, I suppose. Yeah, that's
We
cool.
unfortunately get so many people here from New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, all across the world that come to Detroit and expect that what they do in those cities is going to work in this city. And unfortunately, they realize fairly quickly that you're not going to be successful in the city if you don't first listen, learn, absorb to become a part of what is going on here. Then you can finally start working on what you want to do in
Yeah,
order to try to add your mark.
yeah,
But
for sure.
if you're just going to try to come in and start something because that's just the way you did it in Chicago, really sorry to say, it's not going to work here.
Yeah, because it comes across by talking to you before as well that Detroit almost is like a place of resilience where people strive hard to make things happen. It's not just about the corporate world. It's about, again, going back to community and forging relationships and hard graft to make things happen. And I think that's probably different than most other places. And I think that makes, I suppose, Detroit so unique. But you should know that much better than I do because you are a Detroit. Is that what you call it? Detroit? I asked you this question before. It's Detroiter, right?
We're Detroiters. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
When are you coming here,
So
Chris? When are you going to come here? Come on, man.
I need to get my stuff together. I need to visit the States. And if I ever go to the States again, I definitely have to go to Detroit for sure and hook up with you and have a beer locally. And you can take me to some of your favorite sandwich places. And we do like a gastronomy tour as well.
You know, I got you, man. We'll take a day and I'll show you all around. There's a lot of amazing things around here.
Now, that was we're talking about Detroit, and you are quite a connoisseur about consumer goods and food. Are you seeing any particular shifts in the market, maybe like towards more fresh, additive-free, local provenance? Are you seeing shifts in the market around those kind of lines, you think?
So I would say there was a huge push for local around 2010, really. Big, giant buy Michigan, buy local. And it kind of tapered off during the pandemic. It boomed up again. And then here we are now where people have kind of forgetting or maybe just only purchasing now based on budget. Because unfortunately,
Mm,
right now in the United States, budget is absolutely affected. We, as citizens of this country, are unfortunately struggling with what's going on economically, obviously politically. There is a rift between the people and external factors and powers that are ripping the people apart from each other, which is never good. So I think based on product sales, what you're noticing right now is that, especially in large scale stores, there's less of a focus on local and more of a focus on larger corporate products.
Mm,
Um, and unfortunately, prices are extremely high right now to where a lot of people really can't even afford the cheaper things, much less quality. I focus on quality with my products. All of my friends and their products, they all focus on quality. And where we are right now, it's scary, man. It's scary.
mm,
I'd like to hope that for the sake of myself and all other small businesses, there will be some kind of way for us to bounce back nationally without that separation of each other. That gives us the opportunity to continue to push our economy in the right direction.
yeah.
But where it's standing right now, I just came back from Europe. I was telling you when we first met. And in Europe, you mentioned to somebody that you live in the United States, and the first thing that everybody says is, "Are you okay?" It's seen right now as the fall of Rome,
Mm.
and that hurts. It's something that I didn't think I would see in my lifetime, but the United States aren't so united anymore.
I mean, I hesitate sometimes going down a political venue in this podcast, but it's interesting because I'm seeing a lot of parallels. Because one of the reasons I started the podcast is I've got my own agency and I wanted to keep like a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry, like food and beverage, logistics. And I had the choice. I either read lots of reports and kind of do like secondary research or talk to people like you, the leaders in the industry, to see if I could find patterns and eventually where I could add value, for example. And one thing I've noticed, like I mentioned to you before, is community. That's kind of running through a lot of the business I spoke to. But another thing as well is because of costs of the costs of goods going up and things like utilities, it's really squeezing the margins of people that value quality. So I've interviewed people in the coffee industry, like someone in the Irish coffee, that they're producing coffee for the community and they don't want to compromise on quality because they do a lot of testing and they don't want to sell coffee that doesn't taste nice just because it's cheap. But then when people are becoming so budget conscious, a lot of people that are struggling since COVID are finding the margins getting tighter and tighter. And that's quite difficult for the small operator to thrive. And I don't know if I've got the solution. It's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one. I think there's a lot of thought that needs to go into this. This kind of brings me to like trends, for example. Have you noticed retailer expectations changing the way you market your product, for example?
The way that I market my product is it's pretty simple. Just focus on the information of who we are, why we do it, what our ingredients are, how we work on quality, what our city is, that messaging, the people around us, why I do what I do. And of course, the product honestly speaks for itself. When speaking just about Otney's, because as you know, I'm thankful to say I do a lot of different things. But when speaking just about Otney's, try it. If you try it, 90% of the people love it.
Yeah. You let the
So
product speak by itself.
yeah, absolutely. Because it's quality, it's delicious, it's fresh. And what we do, we care about. We make sure that we're treating every step from production until, finally lands in the consumer's hands with care. So in terms of marketing for it, the only thing that I do is I just continue to band with the people around me. We as Eastern Market push very hard to purchase local from local organizations. Eastern Market is the largest open air market in the US. And it's based here in Detroit. We have, the market back over here, and it's a massive district. And that's what I've been selling since 2009. I'm now very fortunate to say that I sit on the board of directors for Eastern Market, and I work with a lot of different brands, local companies, just with whatever anybody needs, honestly. And in the same way that people have always helped me out, I think that it's important to continue that and continue to work with each other in that sense because Eastern Market is now, unfortunately, very rare. There aren't that many types of markets in the United States anymore. Most of
Mm,
these market districts have unfortunately disappeared, been purchased, converted to corporate business parks, loft spaces, giant shopping centers, restaurant zones, and not us. We
mm,
still have a lot of people here in the city that need quality, fresh produce, that look for getting flowers, plants, great meats, fish. And of course, local packaged goods. Focus on quality. So Eastern Market itself is a huge marketing place. If there was that in every major city again, that would be beautiful. There's small independent markets, smaller markets for sure, and we have a lot of those all around our metro area. But there's not much in the world anymore like what Eastern Market is.
Yeah, so it will revitalize the local economy, in your opinion. I get it. I mean, so for you at the moment, if I were to ask you what's really working well within Anthony's, what would you say are the things that are really working? Is it like product placement, partnerships, anything else?
Knock on wood, I'm still working. That's kind of
It-
the biggest thing. Yeah. I mean, I'm fortunate to say I still have my van, the warehouse, the people that support, the word of mouth, the continued ability to partner and to sell and to work with so many incredible people. That's what's working best.
Okay.
We also have very incredible stores that trust in us, that believe in us. That's also very much part of our business, obviously, working in stores and being able to sell those stores. And of course, whatever we can do to be visible to the consumer, whether it's at store level or on social media, doing the podcast, any kind of video work. I've been pushing as well on traditional media, television outlets, news organizations, papers. Fortunately, I do a lot of different things. And one of the things that is very nice is they'll always say like in a news organization, news article, an interview, Carlos Parisi of Ant News.
Sorry,
And
Carlos, I didn't get that.
they'll say my name, Carlos Parisi of Ant News.
All right.
And being able to say that alone is beautiful marketing. So to anybody who is looking for the marketing solution, there isn't just one solution. Put yourself out there for literally everything and anything that you can do because you yourself have to be the brand. You have to live in who you are and thrive in who you are.
Yeah, that's good advice. So on the flip side, if you were to say that something is not quite ticking along the way you'd like it, what would you say it is?
Man, um, continued distribution. One thing that is it's an issue unfortunately is we used to have a lot of different local distributors, and unfortunately, a lot of them have been purchased or they've been taken over. And unfortunately, local distribution nowadays falls within essentially just a few distributors. And if you're trying to make it in large scale distribution, and you're not working with one of those, you have to start looking out of state and figuring out what that looks like. It's an increased profit or increased margin rather in your profits. And it's just a matter of making sure that it works to sell outside of state. At that point, if you can figure out if a distributor will pick you up outside of state, probably going to have to increase your profit margin. And then you might use the risk of not making sales. Or you don't increase your profit margin, you sell, and you're just basically remaining either at status quo or you're losing money. Either way, does it count as a marketing expense if you lose money? Unfortunately, sometimes it has to, but to what end, right?
So, I mean, at the moment, can you just tell the viewers, because I think you own Whole Foods, right? Where can they find your product other than Whole Foods? Is it mainly in Detroit?
We're in every Whole Foods across the entire state of Michigan.
Okay.
We're also in a bunch of different local stores across the entire state as well. Mostly cities, towns in the state. So whether you live in Detroit, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Traverse City, Petoskey, Bad Axe, all over the city, or all over the state rather, we're available. If you live in a small town, probably going to have to travel to another major city to pick us up. That was another thing that has to do with distribution. One of our major distributors ended up shutting down and everything that they had was sold off. And unfortunately, a lot of the brands that worked with them, and myself included, lost a lot of accounts because whether we weren't able to self distribute to those small towns or we couldn't get on with a distributor that took it over because that distributor says, chips and salsa, we got enough. Thanks a lot. Because unfortunately, they don't see us as being profitable to them.
So, would you like to expand distribution outside the state? Would you like to go like national? Is that like something in your plans for the future when we speak about the future?
The plan was always to go national. The possibility of going national, that's to be seen. For right now, I am 100% able and willing to go regional. Expanding into the Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania markets, super reasonable. I can do that honestly right now. It's just a matter of finding that distributor that's going to be willing to work with us, have the ability to come pick up from our warehouse, or we can get to a distribution center. And from that point on, be able to put it in the stores. So that's the big hurdle. And that's what I've been working on.
Right. So in terms of constraints, it's not necessarily production capacity, it's more distribution. So would you say than the distribution is anything else that is a constraint within your business, you think? Or is it the biggest bottleneck is distribution?
It's the biggest bottleneck right now. Some would say one of my constraints is working for myself and doing everything myself. But to be honest with you, it's been all right. If anything goes wrong, I know I'm at fault. And I'm fortunate to say I've been able to get it all done.
So I like to ask this question, which it's a bit about magic, and I like magic. Not that I'm a magician, but I like the questions. If I were to give you a magic wand and you could simplify one part of your business tomorrow or make something happen within Antony's, what will you make happen?
Regional distribution.
Yeah, yeah. Because that's, I think, it's the lever you're looking for the next stage.
That's it.
So in terms of metrics, if you had to improve a metric for the next quarter, will it be to have more distributors within your books?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. Absolutely. I mean, that's been my goal for a little while now since we lost that one distributor, is to be able to pick up another one that we have the trust with each other to make work for ourselves. Unfortunately, there's a couple of distributors that you hear horror stories from other brands that have sworn to never work with that distributor again. And that's a shame. That's a shame that that happens.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the next question, this is about the future. I think maybe it might be a little bit repetitive, but if you look into the future, like into the next 12 months, and you have a headline that you like to celebrate, what will that headline be for you? And I think maybe I guess what it might be, but I'll let you. I'll let you tell me.
If it was just for Aunt Knees alone, I'd probably say Aunt Knees available in Chicago. That would be huge. So
That's a
that's the first large market.
that's a good goal to aim for. So if growth was guaranteed, and you were given 50 grand, $50,000, where would you invest first? People, money, or marketing?
With 50 grand, it would probably have to be, honestly, I'd probably just do another vehicle, another person, and then do self distribution.
But that will be still local.
Well, if we could do a box truck and then be able to then ship to a distributor to a distribution center in another state, that makes it a little easier for a distributor to want to pick this up. So if we were to say we'll be able to take this to Illinois.
Okay. That's cool. Now, I guess we're coming a little bit towards the end because I did say I wanted to keep it within 30 to 40 minutes. I don't want to take much of your time and I respect your time. So I guess if someone is listening and they want to know more about your mission and they want to know where to find you, what are your socials? What can you share with our listeners?
Yeah, of course. Aunt Nees is at aunt_needs. AUNT_NEES, as you say 'em. And that's on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on, well, that's really it. But then and then of course, auntnees.com. And then for myself, which, as you mentioned before, I do a lot within the community. I run the Detroit Sandwich Party, which has its own Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I run Sandwich Week, and that's a holiday that I started 12 years ago with my friends. I do TV shows, including Carlos Eats Detroit, which is the newest show that I'm doing on WD Channel 4, Local 4. It's the NBC affiliate here in town. And then I do, I don't know what else, a bunch of stuff. I do food tours in Mexico City. I cook with a ton of different people here in town and do collaborative pop-ups or pop-ups of my own. Work with bars and restaurants to do any consulting that I possibly can. I eat really, really well. And so if you want to just see anything that I do specifically, my name is Carlos Parisi. And you can literally just Google my name. It'll show up with any of the socials, including Instagram or Twitter, TikTok, just Carlos_Parisi.
Fantastic. I generally ask two closing questions from the people I interview so that we can impart some knowledge to people listening, and particularly like individuals that want to follow like an entrepreneurial career. Is there a particular book or podcast that you recommend, or a book that you quite like that you like to share with our listeners and viewers?
Oh, that's a great question, man. Honestly, I get inspired by people who do things that are way out of anything that I've ever been able to do. One of the most recent just like pieces of history that were very inspiring to me were, the Beastie Boys book. I don't know if you've read that one.
I
It's
haven't.
an incredible book. just about the story of the Beastie Boys. It goes through the history of what New York was in the 80s, what made them who they were, and then how they continued to basically do what they believed in doing themselves to build a career for themselves all the way until today and who they are now. And that was a great book. And that just, it left me excited, happy, inspired. That was a good one. It's obviously not a business book, but it was a lot of fun to read. And I think it checked all the boxes of the type of inspirational work that I wanted to see.
Yeah. I guess it's about being authentic and following it through self, right?
That's
Yeah.
the
And
only thing I ever wanted to be.
yeah. And the last question is what keeps you passionate? You know, you go through the highs and the lows, the hard work, being accountable for all what you do. What keeps you passionate? What makes you get up out of bed and do it all over again?
Billion things. My gosh, whether it's the ability to know that what I do makes other people happy, that's a huge thing. Knowing that the only person to get something done is me, and the person that's standing in anything's way, it's also me. Knowing that I never want to make anybody not proud of what I'm doing. My mother has been a huge inspiration in my life. She's a single mom, and I only ever wanted to make her proud. My wife, she's my everyday inspiration and mark of courage, and she makes me so happy to be her partner. She's another person that really makes me be the person that I am every day. And of course, the people around me, this city, but even not even just the city, but the people that hold the same message as who we are here of community, authenticity, power in what's right.
That's
That's
awesome.
that's what drives me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that was a great conversation. Thanks for pulling up a chair at the operator's table. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us wherever you listen to our podcast and share it with someone who loves hearing real stories from real operators. Today's guest was Carlos Parisi of Antnis. Carlos, was a pleasure having you. I hope you had fun like I did. And this brings us to the end of our podcast.
You rock, Chris. Thank you very much for having me on.